time and place between your ears. A magic land, yes and west, you'll find there. Your imagination is the place to start. Join us on a journey home to your heart. Storytelling agents in America. Welcome to our home, Storytopia. Asian America.
Once upon a time,
Storytopia.
not so long ago.
Once upon a time.
Storytopia.
Asian America. Storytopia.
Hi, my name is Yasu. Welcome to Asian American Storytopia. It's so great to see you. Today, we will take you into a fun, exciting journey through stories and arts. So, are you ready? Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Linda Yemoto. My grandparents came here from Japan well over 100 years ago. So I'm Japanese American, and I live in Oakland, California. Now today I'd like to share with you a Japanese folktale, one of my favorites. But first I want to show you Botamochi. Now this is a Japanese treat made with sticky glutinous mochi rice. This has some sweet red bean paste inside. The others have the sweet red bean paste on the outside. But what I wanted you to notice was the coatings and the shape, because if you use your imagination, Botamochi might just resemble frogs and toads. Okay? Mukashi mukashi, haru tokoro ni. Long, long ago in Japan, there lived a bachan, a grandma, but she was not a kind, sweet bachan. No, you would probably say she was a rather stingy, greedy bachan. She lived with her grown son and his wife. Now, one morning, Bachan was getting ready to go and do some shopping. She'd put on her hat, she'd put on her jacket when there was a knock at the front door. So she slid the door open, and there was her neighbor. He had brought her an entire box of Botamochi. For you see, it was the spring equinox when you have celebrations for your ancestors, those who came before you, and you make Botamochi and you give it to friends and family. Well, it was her favorite treat. And like I said, she's not too kind and sweet, and she didn't want to share this Botamochi with anyone, but she had to go do her shopping. So she decided that she would hide the Botamochi box, and then she had an idea. Botamochi, listen carefully. This is Bachan speaking. And if you hear my voice, you stay Botamochi. But if you hear anyone else's voice, you turn into frogs and toads. Okay? Botamochi for Bachan, frogs and toads for anyone else. And then she hid the box and went off to do her shopping. Well, her daughter-in-law heard her talking. Oh, that stingy Bachan, I am going to teach her a lesson. So she got the box out of its hiding place. She opened it up and she took out all the Botamochi and she hid it. And then she went back behind their home where it was kind of meadowy and there was a nice pond, plenty of frogs and toads. So gathering up her apron, she cut as many frogs and toads as she could. She brought them back into the house and put them in the empty Botamochi box. And she tied it back up again and hid it again where Bachan had left it. Now, not too much later, Bachan returned from her shopping. She took off her hat, she took off her jacket, and she immediately went to where she had hidden the box. Oh, it's still heavy. I don't think anybody found the box. Oh, I'm so excited. But she looked in. All these bulging eyes were staring back at her. Oh, very good, Botamochi. My daughter-in-law must have tried to open you and you turned into frogs and toads. Very good, Botamochi. But now you need to turn back into Botamochi, okay? No more frogs and toads, Botamochi. Oh, those eyes are still staring back at her. Oh, please turn back into Botamochi. Oh, stop, stop, stop. Don't jump, don't jump. All that delicious coating will come off of you. Now, please turn back into Botamochi. Ghetto, ghetto. Shh. Ghetto, ghetto. Shh. My daughter-in-law is going to hear you. Quiet, quiet, quiet. Now turn back into Botamochi. Oh. You listen to me. This is Bachan speaking. You turn into Botamochi right this minute. And when the box quieted down, ghetto, 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 ghetto. Oshimai. Hi, it's Linda Yemoto again. I just told you the story of Botamochi, or Jumping Frogs, by Hiroko Fujita. And now I want to teach you how to make your own jumping frog. And if you go to our website, you'll be able to download all the instructions, templates for things like the frog's front legs, forelegs, hind legs, eyes, or you can even print them out in color. Now, all you'll need is an empty milk or juice carton. You can use the half-gallon size, or you can use the smaller quart size. Now here I have this smaller quart size, and you're going to need the help of an adult, a grown-up, to use a box knife or an X-Acto knife, because you want to be able to cut off the bottom. It's a lot easier to do with an X-Acto knife. Cut off the top, and then with what's left, you're going to divide into thirds, and you can either cut it with scissors or the knife again. So you see, you have sections enough for 3 jumping frogs. But let's just take one of them. And then with the scissors, you're going to cut slits marked, with this dark line, 1/2-inch slit, the top and the bottom. If this is a diamond, you're going to cut at the top corners and the bottom corners, right? So you've got 4 slits. And then you're simply going to take your rubber band and you're going to slide your rubber band into those slits. So you can see where the rubber band is now, right? So if this is a diamond shape, and now the rubber band's going across, then you have to kind of test out your rubber band. So as you're stretching your rubber band like this, if this carton starts to collapse, starts to fold, it means your rubber band is too strong. You'll need to find another one. But if you stretch this out, push it down, the rubber band is completely stretched, hold it like this, and then let it go quickly. Perfect. That was just the right amount of jumping. So here's another one I've done, right? Let's see with the rubber band. And this is the basic jumping frog. You can play with this all you like. But if you want to make it to look a little more like a frog, you can take a strip of green paper that's the same width as your carton. And with your glue stick, cover it with glue. Then wrap it around your carton and hold it, press it until it's dry. And then it'll look like this. And then I like to cut off these front corners just to make it a little more frog face shape. And then if you like, you can get the template for the eyes. And if you have googly eyes, you can glue those on. And then put some glue down here and fold it along the dotted line. And then you'll be able to glue it onto your frog's face and the eyes will stand up. Now, if you don't have googly eyes, like this one, you can always just cut them out of paper, right, and glue them on. They both work. And then to make it look even more realistic, if you were to take this much and then you cut out the forelegs, the front legs, and the hind legs, right, you're going to simply glue them or staple them even to the bottom of your frog, there and there, right? So then you'll have something that looks kind of like this guy, right? As I had said earlier, if you go to our website, and you'll find the link below, you'll be able to download all the instructions and the templates for making your own Botamochi jumping frog. Ghetto, 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 ghetto. Have fun!
Hello, my name is Dr. Joel Ying. I'm a physician and a storyteller. I've lived in the United States here in South Florida since I was 6 years old. I was born in the country of Jamaica. In fact, my parents were born in Jamaica. But my ancestors go back to China and Africa. Today, I'd like to tell you a folktale from the people of Korea, and there are many versions of this story across Asia. Today, you will hear mine, and perhaps one day I will hear yours. The Spring of Youth. Once upon a time, there was a woodcutter and his wife. They lived together in a home at the foot of a mountain. They had all the blessings of a happy life, except for the one blessing they always wanted, the blessing of a child. Every morning the couple would go out into the woods together. The husband would chop wood, the wife would collect the kindling. They worked hard each day to collect enough wood for themselves and to pay the landlord. The landlord was a bitter old man, a miserly curmudgeon, who was always raising the rent. You should collect more wood. But still, the couple lived happily, growing old together. Until the day came when the wife was too old and too weak to go out into the woods. And so the woodcutter went out alone, spending longer and longer hours each day. One day, he heard the sad song of a bluebird. He followed the song, and he found a bluebird with a broken wing. He carefully picked up the bird, splintered the wing, and then he took it home to his wife, where they cared for it and nurtured it back to health. When it had fully healed, they took it back out into the woods, and they watched with tears in their eyes as it flew off, this time with a happy song. Well, life went back to usual for the woodcutter and his wife, collecting wood for themselves and the landlord. But one day, he again heard the song of the bluebird. He followed the song, but when the bluebird saw him, it flew off again. He followed the bluebird deeper and deeper into the forest, to places he'd never been to before. He followed deeper and deeper until he came to a mountain spring. And there, by the spring, he lay down his axe, exhausted. He took a long drink and fell asleep. When he awoke, strength again filled his bones. He picked up his axe and he skipped down the mountain back home. When he opened the door, his wife screamed, "Ah, get out of here! Get out of here! We have nothing here. My husband will be home soon." Do you not recognize me, wife?" said the woodcutter. And she looked up at him. And it was indeed her husband, but years younger. His bald head was now covered with thick, dark hair. His body was now supple and strong. What happened to you?" she said. And he told her all about the bluebird and the mountain spring. "You should go there too. You can be young again." "It is too late for me," she said. "I am too old and too weak to make the journey." "But I am now young and strong. I can carry you." And with that, the old couple went out into the woods. The old woodcutter, now young, carrying his old wife on his back. They followed the bluebird to the mountain spring, and there the wife took a long drink, and then another, and then another. "That's enough, wife." And as she stood up, her body was again supple and lithe. Her thin gray hair was now thick and black and lush. They clasped hands and danced for joy, and hands still clasped, they skipped down the mountain back home together. The next morning, the landlord arrived to collect the rent. The landlord was bent over and crippled with arthritis. His joints were swollen, and with each step he shuffled and winced with pain. The woodcutter felt sorry for the landlord. What happened to you?" said the landlord. And the woodcutter told him all about the bluebird and the mountain spring. "This is my property," said the landlord. "That is my spring. You should not go there again." And with that he turned and went out into the woods. Well, that evening the landlord still had not returned. The woodcutter and his wife worried that he'd gotten lost. They went into the woods and found the bluebird and followed it to the mountain spring. And there, by the spring, they found a pile of old clothes. And within the clothes they found a newborn baby. The wife, she picked up the child, who looked back at her with sad and longing eyes and cried. The couple, they cradled and comforted the child. Now you might say this story is about greed. You can't have too much of a good thing. But it is also about second chances. The woodcutter and his wife got a second chance to grow old together, this time with the blessing of a child. And that old miserly landlord, he got a second chance too, this time to grow up with parents that loved him.
Hope you had a fun, exciting journey through stories and arts. Please give us a thumbs up to the video, and please don't forget to subscribe Asian American Storytopia channel so that you don't miss any exciting updates from us. We cannot wait to see you at the next episode. またね! That is a see you in Japanese. So, またね!